All right. Hello, everyone. Or there's one person on. Okay, one person. Okay, we might get buffered here. Welcome to Houdini Secrets Live, everyone. Now, this is really embarrassing. Here I am. I'm trying to access my notes, and I can't seem to find them. Okay, so I am going to work on just saying here and keep on looking for my notes. Please please give me your attention and your time for the next few minutes while I try to figure this out. Thank you for your patience. Hopefully it finds it. My lecture seems to have disappeared. This is indeed cursed, gang. Welcome to Houdini Secrets Live, the land of perpetual ineptitude. All right. I have found it. Yay! It was misspelled. It wasn't named like should be named, but alas, that is the way that things go. But at least I did find it. So happy days. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you very much for your patience. Sorry for all the delay. Welcome again to Houdini Secrets Live. I am Chris, and I will be your host for today's session. And today we are going to be exploring part of the new KinEffects 2000 or in 18.5 in Houdini. And so it's going to be new stuff. So we are going to focus just on the retargeting aspect of the Houdini engine. Now, I've had a chance to play around a little bit with more of Houdini 18.5, and it is pretty cool. It is pretty amazing, and it's very, very groovy. And what is cool is because it abstracts the whole process of the rigging. You can take a character animation at any state of the game, whether it be raw, whether it be a brand new character from scratch, whether it be a mocap animation or an animation that you pulled in from UE4. It doesn't matter. You can go ahead and create a new rig for that character and then totally go ahead and then start animating on top of it. That is really, really cool stuff. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and launch up my Houdini and get things rocking and rolling. All right. Okay, let's see if we got that going on. Yes, okay, you should see my Houdini screen. Excellent. Now, if you don't see my Houdini screen, go ahead and send me a shout. Now, there's only two people out there, so hopefully these people are very communicative and they'll be willing to share their information and tell me if anything is wrong. But if not, then oh well, so worries. Que sera. All right, welcome to this. So what we're going to do here is go ahead and start a brand new project. And so go ahead and file, and then go into new project and create a brand new Houdini project. And I'm going to return to a project I was working on, and that's called KineFX Exploration. All right. Okay, very groovy. And it looks like my volume is way loud. I'm going to modify my microphone just a little bit. All right, very cool. All right, now I have to make a disclaimer. And the disclaimer is that I'm just learning these new features. And with these new features, there's dozens of new KineFX nodes. And I only know what kind of a handful, if that, I only know what a handful of them do. Now, if you know of a better way of doing things, then please provide some comments below. Personally, I love learning new things, and I love it when the students show me new stuff and new things that they. And in the oncoming weeks, I'm going to go show more and more what the animation can explore. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. I don't know. All of my travel plans for Christmas kind of fell apart because of all this COVID stuff. So I might broadcast on Christmas. I might broadcast on New Year's Day. I don't know yet. But check your normal bat channel for the status on things to see if we are going to have a new Houdini class, because we're going to give an introduction into the brand new Houdini rigging. Starting, if not this week, then starting next week. Okay, now the important thing to remember is that if you go ahead and open up your project, I'm going to go ahead and open up my project here. Oh, so much stuff. Okay, Houdini projects. And do I have my KineFX exploration? Where are you stored? I thought I knew where it was. Save as. Okay, where is KineFX exploration? Ah, it's on D drive. Okay, it's not where it should be, but that's okay. Go back to the D drive. Take our EDU, Houdini secrets. There we go. KineFX exploration. All right, now make sure to go ahead and add a couple of extra folders to your project. And one thing I'd like for you to bring around is Windows security credentials via classes. Okay, well, I'm going to have to postpone that one till later. I don't know what that is, but we'll have to do it. We had our industry review last night, and if you were there, congratulations, you all did a stellar job. And if you weren't there last night, then let's talk about that at some future date. But anyway, make sure you create a brand new folder, one for characters and one for clips, because we're going to store some different information, one for character information and one for clip information. So go ahead and include that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the sideeffects.com website, and we're going to download Sophia. Sophia is the new side effects dancing female character, and she is going to get us into the new 21st century of rigging here. Okay, I'm going to look up sideeffects.com. Okay, if you go over here to Get and Download. Uh-oh, I have to log in. Ah, here we go. Oh, I don't want to get Houdini. I want to go to the content library. My mistake. And there's Eric and there's Sophia. Now, Eric is just an FBX. So you really can't have access to him, but Sophia is a full-blown rig. And so therefore, you could download Eric at some future time. In fact, what we're probably going to do next week is create a rig for Eric dynamically inside of the Houdini Secrets. But for this week, we're going to just deal with the Sophia rig, and we're going to leave the rig interpretation until next week. So click on Sophia and go ahead and download that. Yes, go ahead and download. And Sophia is going to be downloading, and she's kind of non-petite. All right, now once that's finished downloading, go ahead and open up a File Explorer, go to Downloads, and there's Sophia. Go ahead, double click that and expand this entire folder. Go to Extract To. Now go to your Houdini project and expand it in your characters section. So I'm going to go to Houdini Secrets. Here we go, the Kinef Exploration and characters. And I created a entire brand new folder for Sophia. So I created a brand new folder and called it Sophia. And I outputted it there. All right, then go ahead and then click OK, and you should be ready to rock and roll. I'm going to go ahead and cancel this because I've already got her on here. All right, Sophia is a pretty cool rig. If you have a chance and if you're feeling brave, go ahead and explore it. But the interesting thing about Sophia is that Sophia was rigged with the old Houdini character paradigm. She wasn't rigged with the new stuff. And so that is very interesting. And if you want to see how the old paradigm works with the new paradigm, I would highly suggest working with looking at Sophia. The difference between the old paradigm and the new paradigm for rigging is that in the old paradigm, all of the rigging tools, the bones, the joints, the controls were stored on the object level. In this new paradigm, everything is transitioned to be on the SOP level. And so this is very interesting, and there are a whole bunch of things that I don't yet understand how that all works yet. But hopefully we'll go ahead and explore all the idiosyncrasies of this. But anyway, go ahead and open up Houdini, and you have to import the Sophia rig into your session. So if you go into File, and then go to Import, move that down to Houdini Digital Asset. Now when you click on this little File button, you get a file browser, click on Job, go into Characters, and then go into Sophia, File, HDA, and then you should see the Sophia.hda. Go ahead and click that, click Accept, and then where it says, what do you want to do with that? Go ahead and click Install and Create. And that will create a new Sophia character for you in Houdini. Ah, there she is. Beautiful. All right, we are not actually going to see Sophia, and we are only going to use a reference of her because, like I said, we have to go into the SOP level in order to deal with her because Sophia currently exists in the object level. So I'm going to turn off Sophia, but she's still going to be there in memory. So don't worry, we haven't lost her. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and reference her. So I'm going to go and create down a new geometry SOP. And then I'm going to call it Sophia Ref, because this is actually a reference of Sophia and not Sophia herself. I'm going to double click Sophia Ref, go inside. And then I'm going to drop down a scene character import. Scene character import. There we go. Okay, now it's giving me a warning. That's because we don't have any information on here. So let's go ahead and put some information. So on the path, go ahead and make it dot dot slash dot dot slash Sophia1. And then for the type, make sure you click in geometry and bones. Null, blend, and other are superfluous and not necessary. Okay, I'm getting this weird error from my broadcast that says YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming as such. Open widget. All right, error. YouTube is not, well, this is no help. Stream is healthy. Stream status poor. I don't know why we're getting poor stream status. Alas, the joys of live streaming. Okay, cool. Now what we got to do here is add a bone deform SOP to her. So go ahead and click on this little blue dot and click on a bone deform. And we make sure that all three strands are this. Now, the use is capture created for bones to now, what this does is this captures attributes created from the bones to deform the geometry according to their movement. So we go ahead and click that, and we now, Sophia is now a live animatable character. So the scene character import imports the rig, but abstractly, turns it into a Houdini rig automatically for us. And here it actually activates and starts deforming the character according to the bone movement. Okay, we've got that in. We've got Sophia in. So I am going to save this. Save as. And I'm going to save this as 12_11 demo. So we have that for sure added as a reference. All right, so we have Sophia saved for us. So let's go ahead now and go and download some animation for her. And so I'm going to go over here. I'm going to load up my hold up, my Google window up again, and then I'm going to click over here, and then I'm going to click over here, and I'm going to go over to my Mixamo website. Go Mixamo.com. Mixamo is a great place for a stash flow of animations. I'll log in. Okay, continue. All right. Want to sign in without your password, blah, blah, blah. Continue. All right. I'm doing just fine. Okay, now there's a whole bunch of animations to work from. But some of them work and then some of them don't. And so I'm kind of figuring out how this all works. And I came into a snag, and we'll go into the snag later on during the conversation today. But I'm going to go that, so if you find more information on how to get this stuff working, please go ahead and inform me. What we're going to do here is we've got the information, and so we're going to look for, what are we going to look for? Oh yeah, skin test. If I type in here, skinning test, that's all we want. And then here we are, skinning test. That's what we want here. So I'm going to click on that. And there it is, all looking wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to click on download. And then I'm going to go with FBX 2019 binary. Ooh. With skin? No, we don't want skin. We want it without skin. 30 frames a second? Yeah, that's fine. Keyframe reduction? Done. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and then download this. So that's going to download. So I'm going to go back up into my file browser. And then we now notice we have a skinning test. Go ahead and I'm going to copy my skinning test, and then I'm going to go to my, oh, this is on D drive. I forgot. Okay, TechArt EDU, HSL KineFX Exploration, and we have clips. You could download it and paste it into clips. Now, I have a whole bunch of these clips as I was testing things out, but you see I have skinning test already there, ready to rock and roll. Go ahead and then paste that inside of your clips folder. All right. All right. We should be back to normal. I'm still getting my error, regretfully. So thank you for your patience, and we'll just kind of have to hopefully that this starts streaming in a proper sort of way. But if you can, drop down a FBX animation import. So click on here, FBX, and then look for animation import. An FBX animation import. Now, make sure that the FBX file name equals the job clips and then skinning test. So we're going to click over here, job clips, and then skinning test. Okay, very good. And now we're going to go over the SOP name. We're going to go with rigging test. I'm going to call the SOP name, call this rigging test. And then set the display on this object to true. And we say, hey, wait a second, what happened to Sophia? Well, Sophia is still there, but however, Sophia is not, we're not seeing her, we're actually looking at the Mixamo animation. Now, this has transformed the Mixamo animation into a Houdini skeleton. Now remember, Houdini skeletons are no longer joints, they are no longer bones. They are nothing but, you guessed it, they are nothing but vertices and lines. Like I said, the entire rig structure has been abstracted. Now, if we go ahead and hit play on this, we should see our character. Ooh, let me go in real time. Okay, come on. Behave for me. All right, so it looks like this goes into about, what was the last frame? $70. Okay, so I want to make this 70. So we're going to be oscillating between frames 1 and 70. Let's play this one again. Okay, perfect. That's just what we want. Okay, very good. Okay, now the reason why I chose this particular clip is because this does a really good job of setting the initial character pose as a T-pose. Now this is very important because as we'll get into this, Houdini, one of the issues that Houdini likes in its new character format is for its characters to be, its initial frame is to be in the T-pose. All right. Now, the next step that we have to do is we have to align the skeletons. So go ahead and drop down a rig match pose SOP. So I'm going to click on, click and I'll look for rig match pose SOP. There we go. Okay, input 0 comes from the Sophia import. And let's go from the animated pose, capture pose, and the rest geometry. I forgot to do which pose to do. Let's hope that it is number 1. Okay, there it is. There it is from Sophia. And the next one should be from there. Okay, no, this should be the rest pose. Is that the right? Yeah, this should be right. All right, now set the display flag on that to be true. And it disappears. Why did it disappear? Failed to traverse geometry, pose target. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, so what happens if we move this to over here? Ah, there we go. There is Sophia's for that. So I was wrong. This needs to be on the third one right here. And now we see what we're looking at is Sophia. That is the Sophia rig. And now what we're going to do is match the Sophia rig to match our Mixamo rig. So put your cursor inside of the viewport, click, and then hit enter. Oh, before you do that, put it over into the front view. Click on 3, or just go ahead and grab front view. Go ahead and center in on everything. Put your cursor inside the window, hit enter, and now we have both skeletons in the viewport. And so we are now in the SOP interface for rig match pose. Now what we have to do here is align the arms and legs in order to correspond with each other. Notice that the initial poses don't necessarily match. So I'm going to go ahead and drag on each of these arms and legs so that they match the angle at which conforms to that. So I'm moving the Mixamo character to be aligned, at least parallel, with the Houdini character. Okay, so there was the left leg, then the right leg, and so I'm going to use the left clavicle, move that up there so that it's nice and flat. And then I'm going to, oops, that's not quite flat yet. There we go. And now I'm going to go and grab this and then rotate that down so it is basically parallel. Now let's go do the right clavicle. Grab that, and then I'm going to grab the right upper arm, bend that down so it is parallel. Okay, now you might have noticed that as you were moving things around, you weren't exactly rotating it. You were just grabbing the armature and then pulling down on it. And that is because with the new Houdini paradigm, a lot of the ways that you transform objects are going to be different. And so a lot of this is just going to be clicking and then dragging, and hopefully everything's going to be set up right, but more of that into the near future. All right, so everything should be parallel like that. I'm going to go ahead and return to the perspective viewport, and then I'm going to click escape, and so that we only see our Sophia rig. And I know Sophia's rig is Sophia because Sophia is green and the Mixamo character is blue. All right, now what we have to do is once we've got our rig match pose in there, what we can do is drop in a map points to there. So I'm going to drag this and go click map points. Okay, I'm going to set the display on that. And everything is copacetic, but we don't really see anything. Not a problem. Now, leave this in perspective mode. Go ahead and place your cursor inside of the viewport, hit enter, and now we see both rigs again. Now we see both skeletons, that is. But we want to offset our target skeleton so they're not, sitting on top of each other. So go ahead where it says target guide offset, where it says 0, 0, 0, change that to about 0, 0, 1.5. And that is going to move our Mixamo character in front so we have a good distance between the two. Now what we get to do is drag from the Mixamo character and then drop onto the equivalent joint on side of our source character. Now here, well, this one's a little, let's focus on maybe just the head or the neck. Let's go with this one. Here we got our head bone. We're going to go ahead and connect that to the head bone on Sophia. We just click, drag, and let go, and we automatically create a mapping from one skeleton to the other. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and then here's the eyeball bone. There's the other eyeball. There's no corresponding to the head top, so we're not going to worry about that. So here's the neck bone, and there's the there's the scapula. Oh, so there's the neck bone right there. And so what I'm going to do is drag this neck bone over to here to match the Houdini or the Sophia neck bone right there. All right. Now, this could get kind of laborsome after a while, just clicking and dragging. So the good folks at Houdini did us a little bit of a favor. They provided a shift and drag, which would mirror the input. So what we're going to do is for this upper left leg, I'm going to shift and then drag it over onto the corresponding. And I'm going to click on there. And notice that when we click on there, we get two choices. And now what we're going to do, we don't want the leg bone split. We're going to just choose the leg bone. You're going to drag that off on there. Oh, and it didn't create a copy. So I'm going to undo that and then shift, drag that one over again. Shift, click, and you see it created the one on the mirror. I'm going to go ahead and do the same for the knee joint or the lower leg joint. Shift, drag onto here, and just like that, I'm going to choose just the leg bone too. And then I'm going to go for the left foot. Click that on here, left foot. And I'm going to go ahead for the toe base. I'm going to move that over just the same here. Toe base. All right, so we got that hooked up. Now I'm going to go ahead and get the shoulders here. Okay, it looks like Sophia's flappy dealio for her hood is a little bit in the way, but I'm going to have to try to avoid that. So I'm going to click on it, I'm going to shift, drag on here from clavicle to the shoulder bone. That's cool. Left arm to left arm bone 1. All right, now for the lower arm, I'm going to choose lower bone 2. Okay, and then for the wrist, I'm going to click on the hand bone. All right, we got that going pretty sweet. Okay. Now we'll have to do this for the hands, but before we go and do that, I'm going to go and set up the spine. Now here is, I'm going to go for the hips. We're going to go and drag the hips over onto here. Now choose, of the 3, choose the hips bone for that. And then we go over here for the Miximo spine, drag that over and drag it right on top there. But instead of choosing the hips bone, choose the spine path. And so it looks like both are targeting at the same place, but really not. All right, now go ahead and move the spine 1 over into the bone 1, spine bone 1, and here is the spine 2, and move that over into spine bone 3. Okay, pretty good. Now what I'm going to do here, in order to get the hands a little bit closer to the other hands, I'm going to reduce my distance here so we can do a little bit of a close-up on that. It makes things a little bit clearer. And it looks like we've got more joints on our Miximo character than Sophia's got. So I'm going to go every other bone. So I'm going to shift click because I don't want to have to do this for the right and the left hand. So I'm going to go with the left hand thumb 2, and I'm going to click that over out of here to the bone 1. And I'm going to go for this left hand thumb 4 and click over to there, and hopefully that works. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the left hand index finger 1. I'm going to move that over to here, and gosh, I don't know what to do. Index 2, index 3. Well, your guess is as good as mine. So let's just go with index 2. Move that over into interbone 2, and then find index 4, move that over there. Now we're going to do the middle. I'm going to do the middle the same. Middle, middle, middle. Okie dokie. Now we're going to go over here and do the ring finger. Click there. Click the second one over onto the second joint there and leave the end joint to there. And then move this final pinky joint over to the stores, middle, and end. All right. Now, don't worry if you misalign something and something doesn't quite make it. It's okay. This is Houdini. We can go ahead and refactor things and redo things to make them look better. Isn't that nice? Okay. So take your best guess. Now what we're going to do is match the target skeleton to our source. So go ahead and apply a full body IK node. So click on full body IK, and then put the display on there. And then we see both skeletons going on at the same time. What we can do here is scrub through this to see if the retargeting is kind of working. Remember that the blue skeleton is the Mixamo skeleton and the green one is Sophia. So I'm going to turn off the joints there, and I'm going to click someplace arbitrarily, and then I'm just going to scrub through the motion and look through to see if there's any kind of offending targeting going on. Oh, it all looks pretty good to me. So good so far. Okay. Now what we're going to do is drive this mesh with the new animation. So go ahead and connect the bone deform input 2 to the full IK. So input 2 here with the bone deform, and plug that into the full body IK output 0. And I'll set the display flag out to true, and then set the flag true. Okay, now scrub through the animation. Okay, she's got problems. Not too bad. Could look a whole lot worse. Okay, so we're going to have to debug what went wrong with this. So in this case, with the bone deform displayed, go ahead and then select the map points editor. However, what if we move this one over into that second one, to spine bone 1? Does that clean things up? Not necessarily, but it's going to 2 places. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kill this connection, spine path, click on this, and how we go ahead and kill that connection. Well, I'm going to find that connection, whatever that is. And so where is this connection going to? And so we have this going onto here. So this is Mixamo rig. This is spine. All right. Mixamo rig spine. Okay, so we have it going to 2 places. So let's go ahead and kill this mapping, the second mapping. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and kill both of those mappings. I killed the wrong one. Okay, so what if we just connect this to here? That doesn't really help anything. And then let's keep on looking to kind of fix things right, because her butt is not being deformed properly. So what if we go and max this one back to here, but instead of the hips bone, we go to the pelvis bone? Oh, that fixed it. Okay, so we clicked on that, and then we retargeted that to the pelvis bone. And that did a whole bunch of miracles for us. Yay. I'm going to go ahead and click that. And now if we go ahead and click through this, we see Sophia working exactly the way she should. Okay, not bad. Now as a added bonus here, what I want to do is go ahead and do some weight adjustment. Now if certain joints need certain weight adjustments, what you can do is display the full body IK node. Okay, go ahead and click on the full body IK, and I'm going to go ahead and click on that so we can see that, and go into the configure, and then hit this and select the desired joint the point and then enter. Okay, the configuration. All right, so which joint do we want to affect here? Oh, let's just say we want to affect this joint. If we go ahead, where's my little arrow mapping? Okay, that's right. So configuration, I'm going to go ahead and click one. And now for the group, I'm going to go ahead and click on my arrow. And then I'm going to choose in this guy and then hit enter. And you see that that put in the hips bone. Now, if we wanted to adjust some of the weight here, we could adjust the weight here to kind of like increase or decrease it. And you see that kind of stretches some of the weight priorities on the object. So it kind of like lets it go for the second joint is more of an attraction than the first joint. And we can also change things to the blend transform to kind of change all the way that that works. But I'm going to leave that as default. All right. So we got Sophia, and she's animating pretty good with a Mixamo animation. Not too shabby. All right, now for giggles, what we might want to do is look at the Mixamo rig while we're looking at good old Sophia. So what we can do here is move my Mixamo rig over here, and I'm going to put over in a transform off to the side, and I'm going to move my Mixamo rig over just a bit. So we got the Mixamo rig, we're going to move it over just a tiny tad. So we're looking, whoops, at both at the same time. I'm going to do a fancy merge to merge them together. I'm going to display that. And I somehow have lost my rendering. Okay, that's not fun. Now the joys of live display. Okay. As we can see, it is now deforming correspondingly along with it. Okay. Very good. Now I think what I'm going to have to do is just reset or get my video card tuned up or update my video driver. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and save. I've got that. Now let's bring in another animation. So I'm going to go back to Mixamo and check out what other animations there are. Now, I warned you that not all these animations are going to look awesome. But what I'm going to look for is what it was that I wanted to import a new animation, you rename to the matching clip name to match the clip name. Okay, hook up the rig match pose. Okay, all right. I did really good up there. So what we're going to do is I'm going to look for, I don't want this genre skinning dance. I'm going to look for some kind of dance. And I'm going to look for, oh, come on, let me find it. Okay, there's the breakdance pack. There's a lot of breakdance here, but it is a breakdance that I'm looking for, but not the main breakdance pack. Okay, that's not the one I want. Which one do I want here? I'm going to cheat. I'm going to go into my file browser. Which one did I actually download? My clips. Okay, breakdance 1990. Okay, let's go back to Mixamo and find breakdance 1990. Breakdance 1990. Okay. And there it is, Breakdance 1990. Okay, there's two of these. And geez, there's three of these. One where it's just spinning on our fingers. And one that, so I'm just going to choose just the first. And let's see if that works. Okay, I think this one should work. And notice that it's 105 frames long. This might come into important use in the future. So go ahead and click download. Okay, FBX without skin, 30 frames a second, and we have no keyframe reduction. Download. All right, I'm going to open my file browser and go into my downloads, and there's my Breakdance 1990. I'm going to copy this one, and then I'm going to paste that into my folder. There it is, Breakdance 1990. And you see I've tried a bunch of these here in order to get them working. But Breakdance 1990 works as far as I can tell. So that is good. Okay, let's return back to Houdini. I wonder what if I go back into Sophia rig. Okay, I'm getting wigged out when I see the darkened Sophia. She's just blacked out, so I'm going to go ahead and save. And I'm going to close and then reopen Houdini real quick and see if that changes things. I don't like it when things are visually inconsistent. I don't know. It's something to do with my ADD, I suppose. All right, I'm going to return back to my project. I'm going to open up my recent file, which is the 1211 demo. Okay, I'm going to discard and open. And Sophia is still dark. Okay, it looks like I need to do a update to my driver, which is too bad because she was working here before, which is too bad. But you can get the idea of what's going on. What about this Sophia? Does she work? Okay, so I must have done something wrong here because Sophia here is looking beautiful. But when we go into this Sophia, not so much. So let's see. What about this Sophia here? She's looking good. And what about this bone deform? She's looking good. And now when we merge into here, I think the reason why it's giving us these problems is because we have a mismatch. And let's see, we have a mismatch of attributes. We've got bukus of attributes that do not conform. A mismatch of attributes, sum of attributes was manually initialized to expected values. Okay, so let's see. What could we get rid of that doesn't match? Let's see. The joys of debugging Houdini. Okay, we've got all these groups. We've got all these primitives, current UV set, name, objective set, and the var map. And so this is, what does this have? I don't know which is causing it. It's one of these buggers is causing it to freak out. And there's that, and there's Sophia. And something is causing her to bug out. And which one of these parameters? I do not know. Oh, shucks. Let's see. I assume, let's see if, I hate to do this, but let's see. Attribute, delete. Doesn't really matter. I mean, once it's been animated, it's ready to rock and roll. So let's go. What kind of attributes do we have here? Geometry not cooked. Okay, there's nothing in here. So I'll get rid of that. Push that over here. Now let's go and see what kind of... All right, so what do we got here? Okay, I'm going to get rid of all of the point and I'm going to get rid of all of the, so I'm going to point attributes. Oh, just how, I'm going to click onto here, and let's go ahead and click this on and see if one of these actually does the work. Here, here, I have a hunch it's not going to work. Here, okay, prepend attributes from reference geometry. Is this going to help any knit? Okay, let's create a duplicate out of this. Okay, we lost all of our textures. Okay, beautiful. Okay, what was on here anyway? So the CD, oh, we lost the color information. Well, we don't want the color information. Let's see. Let's see if we go not CD. Is it going to remember? And what about here? We say not CD. Nope. It's going to grab everything else. So let's go ahead and see. We don't want to do not CD. So let's see if we could do this by hand. Position, no. FBX rotation. P rotation, scale, and translation. Okay, that didn't help anything. Let's go check out the vertex attributes. We want the let's see, we want the normal. We don't okay, we want the texture, so let's see if we get rid of the we want the vertex and the normal. Let's see if that works. Nope. And what about these primitive attributes? Aha, there we go. And now let's go ahead and return things back to normal here. Click. Nope. It's that squirrely CD attribute. Okay, we want to get rid of the position, the path, the name, path, scale inheritance, the transform, and what else do we have here for the vertex attributes? There's nothing here, nothing there, nothing there, nothing there. And, well, it looks like it's the color information that is the culprit here. Yes, it is, gang. So, in respect to the traditional thing, let's go ahead and just drop in a color sop onto this and then color it blue. All right. Oh, nuttiness. Okay, go ahead and save this. This is so silly. Okay. Now, if we go ahead and bring in this new animation, bring in a new, go ahead and bring in a new FBX animation clip. So FBX animation import. I'm going to go ahead and import the FBX file. Okay, go to job, clips, and we go to breakdance 1990. Okay, now if we hook up FBX 1990 into this, the rig match pose, and then we hook that up into our transform, then everything's looking good, but Sophia isn't matching the rig pose. Now when we start animating it, yeah, she starts going crazy ape nuts. Okay, gang, the reason why Sophia is going ape nuts on here is because her initial frame is too far away from the initial frame from our new FBX imports. And so I'm going to call this, so this is rigging test, and I'm going to call this one breakdance. All right, so the breakdance initial pose is too far away from Sophia's initial pose. And Houdini is not able to conform the Sophia pose to this. So the difference is too great. So what we have to do is, there's a couple solutions we could do. Now, here's one solution. It's the easiest solution, and I'm not really happy with it yet because it's too easy, and I can see that it is going to have some limitations. But what we can do is we can swap the good pose to get Sophia, conform and working online, and then we can switch over into the breakdance one. So I've got my rigging test, and so I'm going to go in here, and this is really cheesy, but it's going to work. So click tab, throw in a switch node, and then put the other input into breakdance. Now for the select input, type $FF greater than 1. So what this means is that when the frame is greater than 1, use the breakdance. But for the first pose, use the rigging test, right? Should work, right? So if we click into there, and then click onto the result from the switch into the transform, and now click on the merge, everything looks copacetic. Now when we hit play, Sophia's doing her thing. Look at that. Isn't it amazing? Okay, so that works. Yay. Now, this is Houdini, damn it, right? And so I don't want to hook up my thing with switch nodes all over the place. That's kind of cheesy. Now, it works. And what really chafes my behind is because I haven't come up with a better solution. I did come up with a partial solution that is half-baked. And so this is work in progress, folks. So please bear with me. But this will work. All right. I know this has got to work. So, because ultimately, I come from old school Houdini, and in the old school Houdini, I used to worship chops, and I love chops, but I haven't worked with it in years, so I'm slightly rusty. But let's see if we can come up with a chop solution to figure this one out. So I'm going to lay down go into blah, 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 managers, and lay down a chops network. Gosh, man, I love chops so much. Chops is awesome. I look forward to, I hope that the new rigging tools start to do a full integration of chops because it's so awesome. I'm going to go ahead and call this I'm going to call this, I'm just going to leave this as ChopNet. I'm just going to call it chops. Make it important. All right. Now, I will work in chops here, but when we go into double click chops, we can see the network, but we can't see anything, in here as it all stays the same. Okay, what we got to do now is kind of shift our view. Go ahead and add, go to into new pane tab, and go where it says viewers, add a context view. And now everything goes black, but we now see it now turns into a graph. Now this is our chops window. Yay! Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do all of our animation mixing and matching. Not on the SOP level, not because it's cheesy, not because it's bad, just because what we're dealing with is streams of animation. And so therefore, let's keep this working with streams of animation, and that can only happen at the chop level. So lay down a geometry chop. Okay, we've got a geometry chop, and now where it says SOP, okay, now we're going to go into this. Okay, we're going to name this skinning test. And so for the SOP, what we're going to go is ... /... Okay, so where is, rigging test. There we go, we want that. Okay, there's our rigging test SOP. Okay, we're going to leave the group as is. Now, go ahead where it says channel. Make sure that the sample rate is 30, very important. And where the, let's see, this is important too, where it says method, make sure that that is animated. That's very important also. Oh, these little details, it's easy to forget. Go to channel here, where it says channel range, use the full frame range. Nah, we're going to use the start and end. Okay, make sure start is 0 and end is okay, so it goes all the way to frame 70, but this is in seconds, so let's change this to frames. So the channel, so this goes to 70. Okay, hopefully that works. All right. Now, what we're going to do here is, I'm going to click on the display, and then we see all the channels on here, but it looks kind of like a Technicolor mess here. So I'm going to click on this little left-right horizontal adaptation and this vertical adaptation, and there we see all of the channels of the skinning test going at its full glory. Now, regretfully, we only want the first channel. So what we're going to do is trim this. Now, if you know of a better way, please tell me, because I couldn't figure out the proper way. Brake pack. Okay, thanks for your tutorial. Do you know how to apply the ragdoll behavior to this rig? Brake pack. Do I know how to? I just noticed Matthias Moore, his question. Do I know how to hook up the ragdoll behavior to this rig? Not yet. Soon, I hope, but at this moment in time, not yet. Thank you for your patience. So what we're going to do here is we're going to isolate just the first frame on here, because that's all we want out of this. So I'm going to go append a trim chop. Put on the display here. Oh yeah, when you're working in the context mode, make sure to turn off the old display, because if you don't turn off the old display, then the chops isn't going to behave right. So go over here where it says, click on it here where it says common, change this back over to frames. And then on the trim section, go to units, values, absolute. All right, and then where it says 0, start, and then end, 69. Okay, now go ahead and append a shift chop. All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn that. And so once again, we're going to change my common, go back to the units, change that to frames. And then where it says trim unit values, change this to absolute again. And then start as 0. Okay. I think this is going to do it. I think something is wrong, though. All right. Pull in the breakdance. Now we'll figure this out one way or the other. Now start the absolute. Do I have to move this over here? No, no, no. I'm going to change that over. I'm going to look at the trim. And we're going to have to trim this all the way down to 1.26. No, this has to be in frames. No. But okay, I'm going to leave that right there at 1.26. That seems to work pretty well. So all we have here is just one frame of information. I'm pretty sure that that's what we need here. All right, I'm going to grab another geometry saw. And then I'm going to pull in my breakdance, // breakdance. Whoops. It no like. Okay, oh, I have to use a capital B. Okay, there's my breakdance. And I'm just going to leave that as is. Now what I'm going to do is drop down a sequence chop off of my shift. So sequence. And we do a sequence combine. So the first one is shift and the second one is geometry. And I don't know, maybe this does work. It's looking kind of scraggly. It's looking kind of ugly, but it's really hard to tell from motion just from this perspective. All right, and then so I'm going to put an output chop on this end here. Okay, so there is my output. And okay, something is not right here. So what we got to do here, oh, no, that's not right. Okay, so let's take a look at this Houdini geometry. So, oh, that's the breakdance, and that's looking kind of ugly. And so this is common breakdance. So it's seconds, frame rate 30. Okay, I wonder why we only have 60 frames here. Interesting, 2 seconds, because I know it's longer than 2 seconds long. Well, it's 105 frames long. Okay, so that means it's at least 3.5 seconds long. All right. Now, click on it. Well, I'm going to go on to this and just keep on rolling here. And so what are these channels named TX, TY, TZ? That's good. Shift. Okay, and then let's look over onto here. Now that's looking some good motion here. Now it's TX, TY, TZ. Now that's all looking good. Now where is it getting these funky names from? So we click on here. Trim. Now in chops, everything is important to deal with the actual names itself. And so if the names are looking kind of funky, then you got to figure out, okay, something's got to shift here. And so let's take a look at shift. Okay, all the shop names are looking good. TX, TY, TZ, everything's looking sexy. All right, now click onto here. TX, oh wait, aha, I know what I did wrong here. We forgot to put on it to be animated. Yep, woo, there it goes. Yeah, we want the full length. Now that's what we wanted to do. So we've got the full length here, and it's all TX, TY, TZ. So the thing is, the chop names have to match each other. If they don't match each other, then you can't combine the chops. And that's what we're doing here, is we're just appending the breakdance chops upon the skinning test chops. So what if we have, if we go ahead and click on here and click on there, do we end up with funky names? No, we don't. And we got the blend length. Okay, that's all good. And so let's go ahead and click this on here. And so everything is now looking copacetic. Now what we have to do is, since we're going to be outputting this, I forgot to put into the instructions on how to output. Okay, so what we got to do here is export and click on the bypass. No, we want that. And the output, click those two on so that we are exporting onto here. So where do we want to export this? Let's export this to, we want it to go to the switch node. We're going to overwrite and clobber the switch node. Yes, let's go for it. All right, so if I go here into export prefix, we're going to click, and we're going to go switch 1. Okay, and uh-oh, is Houdini going to die on me? Uh-oh, I think I may have killed it. I'm going to go ahead and save real quick, because I think this just might end up killing everything. Uh-oh, yep, Houdini crashed. Not too good. Okay, no, we don't want to go. Nope. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and bring up Houdini again to see if this can go. Thank you for your patience. We are just having a wild, wacky time here. But at least in this demo, we get to see what not to do, right? Look for that. No, we don't want that. We want Houdini. Where's my Houdini? Here we go. All right. Now go to File. Let's see. Was there any crash open? Let's see if there's a open a crash file. No backup for found. Okay, great. Thanks. Okay, crash recovery. Open recent files. Okay, so we're going to go up and set the project. No. I'll go ahead and set the recent project. Gonna go on ahead and open 1211 demo, accept, discard and open. Lucky thing, I saved it right as we got the animation working. And we got Sophia dancing along with her breakdance character. Okay, good. And so this goes to 105 frames, I believe. So let's go ahead and change that to 105. Okay, great. Perfect. All right. Now let's go and see if we can recreate our chops network from scratch again. So I'm going to go ahead and lay down a oh, this is my chops network. Oh, look at that. Check this out, folks. Save, please. I didn't realize that this is the chops network. So if we click onto here, and if we click on I, check this out. What it's doing is it says, okay, channel current name, and what it's doing is hold. So override none. So I don't think that this is actually overriding properly. So, okay, yeah, so it's not overriding properly because we don't have the name here. So let's go ahead and make sure that the name is proper. And so let's go into here. We go into object, Sophia ref. And then we want our switch node, switch 1, accept. And now, is that croaked? It's still not exporting. Okay, unload. We gotta export and import. We gotta export here. We got an output node, export prefix. Let's see if that's slash. Oh, you know what? It doesn't work, folks, like that. And I just remembered why. Because remember what I said? Okay, we can't export from chops this way. Why? Is because exporting like chops, exporting this channels like this can only export to object channels. We're not in objects anymore space. We're in SOP space. Okay, we're not in SOP space anymore, so this isn't going to work. So we can output all day long, and it doesn't really matter. So what we have to do now is we have to kind of be sneaky and go into our up root, and what are we going to call this? Oh, we're going to call this node here. I'm going to call this dance. Better make it all lowercase so I remember. Dance out. Okay, remember that. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to find a sneakier way to get this data out of chops and into our skeleton. All right, so what we can do here is in between the switch sub and the rig match pose, what we're going to do is we're going to insert a point wrangle because the rig is all points, right? So let's look for a rig wrangle. So point, got a point wrangle. And I'm going to snip that in there and snip that in there. Okay, so we have our point wrangle. And then I'm going to call this pirate chops. Dum 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 dum. Okay, we've got pirate chops here. We're going to pirate the chops information and we're going to put it into this network here. So how are we going to do this? Well, we're going to do some fancy vex, folks. Okay, this first what we're going to do is we're going to so since chops works primarily in names, what we're going to do is we're going to get the information. We're going to create a couple of phone names. So for our TX channel, what we're going to say is string TX equals sprintf TX and then the point number. So luckily, here, check this out, folks. If we go into chops and go into our context view, we'll see that all of our channels are labeled nice and keen, and they're called like TX1, TX2, TX3. So those actually correspond to our actual point numbers, right? So if we go ahead and click onto here, then we say, then TX corresponds to the current point number. And so I'm going to do this for all three of my objects. All three of my channels, that is. So TX, TY, TZ. So I want to call this TY and TZ. And this I'm going to go TY. And this is going to go TZ. All right. Now I'm going to create a new chop path. Okay, so this is where I'm going to get my chops from. So my chop path is op colon, and then the string name, I'm going to look for, okay, chopnet sequence 1, and that's not what this is going to be. This is chops slash dance out. Okay, so you're going to see why I used OP colon in for that channel. Because what we're going to use here is we are going to use the chop vex. And so what I'm going to create here is a local variable called chopx. Now the chopx is going to use the chopvex command. And here's our chop path. This is where it's coming from. And this is the actual chop channel that we want. And then $frame is the current frame of where we're sitting at. And so there he goes. There's our X value for our points. So there's the Y and the Z. Let's change these names, Y and Z. And change these values to Y and Z. Okay, the only thing left to do now is set the point location, set its position to whatever these values coming from chop are. And that one is easy. So here we go. At P equals set chop X, chop Y, and chop Z. Okay, so let's go ahead and, whoa, and things are looking kind of funky and wonky there. And it's just looking pretty good. And not too shabby. We are now pirating chops. Oh, okay. The first frame isn't working. Now that's supposed to be our keyframe, and I guess we're getting confused here between the trim sop. And so let's see if we go into our chops and I go into the scene view, and I think it has something to do with this trim sop. If we go ahead and extend this, oh, there it is, popped right into place. And so now when we play it, Sophia is now breakdancing like a dancing queen. Okay, nice. Okay, so now we don't have to do any of this funky switch business. We could just do something that's even harder and even more nutty using chops. Okay, I have a hunch that the good folks at Side Effects are going to push the new rigging towards a new chop direction. We can only hope. But if somebody at Side Effects actually sees this horrendous episode, please contact me. I'd love to discuss, how to import the new animation and incorporate it with the chops, because honestly, animating with chops is just a buttload of fun, and it makes a lot of sense when you think about it in a most abstract way. Okay, folks, that pretty much wraps up. Oh, hit the save button, please. Okay. Oh, golly. All right. Well, thank you very much for your patience today. thank you very much for dealing with all of the idiosyncrasies that is live Houdini broadcasting. I appreciate your patience. If you liked what was transpired today, go ahead and click on the subscribe channel on the YouTube. If you want, go ahead and check me out, Chris Rhoda, on Facebook and on LinkedIn. And if you want, check me out also on Facebook and LinkedIn on the Tech Art EDU and the Orlando Houdini Users Group. That's right. We're all about the Orlando Houdini User Groups. And speaking of the OHUG, next Friday is our next OHUG meeting. So all you folks out there in Orlando land, either come down to FIA or check us out online and come and show us what you got. I want to see some of the new and interesting projects that you're working on in Houdini. Anything counts, so bring it in. Do not feel ashamed because we're all here learning, right? All right. Thank you very much, and I will see you all again next week, and we're going to start diving into these 18.5 rigs. Okay. Thanks a lot. Have a good week. Bye.